Hey y'all, I figure I'll come in now and just let us hear the ASAP Rocky verdict. Let's listen together.
Juror number 1, are those your two correct verdicts? Juror number 2?
Yes.
Juror 3 and 4?
Yes.
Juror 5 and 6?
Looks nervous.
Juror 5, are those your two correct verdicts? Yes. Juror 6?
Yes.
All right, let's get the verdict forms to Juror 7. Juror 8, look over your shoulder. Juror number 7, those are your two correct verdicts? Juror 7?
Yes.
Juror 8?
Yes.
9 and 10? Juror 9?
Yes.
Juror 10?
Yes.
11 and 12. Juror 11?
Yes.
Juror 12?
Yes.
All right, all jurors have stated that the verdict forms reflect their individual true correct verdicts. Alex, read this.
Yes, Your Honor. The Los Angeles Superior Court, County of Los Angeles. People of the State of California versus Joaquin Mayers. Case number BA 508142-01. We, the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Joaquin Mayers, not guilty of
Not against the audience. Or against the audience.
Hold it down, hold it down. Verdict has to be read on camera.
Repeat again, we, the jury, above entitled action, find the defendant, Joaquin Mayers, not guilty of semi-automatic firearm in violation of Penal Code Section 245, Section B, a felony, charging count 1 of the information, this 18th day of February 2025, jury seat number 9, 4 person.
All right,
Title for the cause, we, the jury, and the above entitled action, find the defendant, Joaquin Mayers, not guilty of the crime of assault with a firearm in violation of Penal Code Section 245, Section B, a felony of charging count 2 of the information, this 18th day of February 2025, juror seat number 9, 4 person.
during this trial, I watched you periodically. You did what we asked of you at the very beginning, which is to give both sides a fair trial, pay attention, use your common sense, apply the law, and base your verdict on the evidence. I know you took extensive notes, and you took this as seriously as any jury could. We cannot have jury trials without folks like you. So you certainly have my gratitude. I want to extend to you my best wishes. Again, thank you. The admonition to not discuss the case no longer applies. You can talk about the case with anybody if you want to, or nobody if you don't want to. Alex has your certificates of completion. You can take your juror badges with you. Thank you again. You are excused.
Everybody remain seated in the public. We're going to let the jurors walk out first.
Thank y'all for saving my life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, y'all.
All right, the jury is left, the bond is exonerated. Mr. Mayers, you're excused.
Back row?
Exactly. Yeah. No, just cut off the video. Off break.
Everybody in the back row, you need to exit.
Okay, everybody, I was supposed to come on at 8:30, but I figured let me go ahead and go live now. Not guilty on all charges. I cannot. So Benjamin wanted me to go through all the charges. I'm not familiar with all the charges either, to be perfectly honest with you. So I'm not going to be able to go through the charges with you. But I will say this, the case was weak. The case is weak. So no matter what we think, the case was weak. What I am hoping for with ASAP Rocky is that, you know, he changes his ways from this moment on. Because at the very least, what we do know is we do know that something happened on those streets, right? Something happened on those streets. And I'm hoping that, you know, from this moment on, because this is a very trying thing, that, you know, he changes ways. Now, before we get into today's topics, I'm trying to go back to, I'm trying to see if they show when they actually come outside. I don't know if Rihanna was in the courtroom with him. Some places I saw yes, some places I saw no, that, you know, Rihanna was with him. Yeah, I hope so too, Charlene. That's my hope for him, is that from this moment on, like, he stays out of trouble for now and forever, because he has 2 children. Right, he has 2 boys, not just children. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me play something else real quick. Let's take a listen. Let me see.
A plea deal for about 6 months in county jail. He said no. Had he been found guilty, he could have gotten 24 years in prison. This was a very big risk, and he won that risk.
And I think that that's perhaps what we saw there, with all of the joy and the nerves, even before, when you saw Joe Tacopina just kind of rocking in his stance right there next to him. Alex Stone, we thank you so much for your reporting and coverage throughout this. For more on this late-breaking verdict, we want to bring in Brian Buckmeyer, defense attorney and ABC News legal contributor. Brian, thank you for joining us. ASAP Rocky was cleared of these charges. Let's talk about that plea deal, okay? Because he had a chance. Give us a sense of what the plea deal was, and he decided, he and Joe Tacopina, his attorney, we're going to go to trial either way.
Yes, I've been here before talking with clients about plea deals. And whenever I talk about plea deals, I think there are 3 things that you need to think about. 1, the deal. 2, the maximum penalty. And 3, how it's going to affect you personally. Now, the plea deal as it applied for ASAP Rocky, was 6 months in jail and 3 months of probation with a 7-year suspended sentence. Meaning if he had messed up on probation, he could have served more time. But ultimately, if he did everything he was supposed to do, it would have only been 6 months in jail. Now, if he had gone to trial and lost, each one of those 2 charges is 3 to 9 years in prison, plus a gun enhancement. And that's why you've heard a lot of people talk about a maximum of 24 years. Now, the last part, how it affects an individual person. Now, if ASAP Rocky goes to jail, I'm sure he can still come out and make music and make great fashion. But he's about my age. I think he's a few months younger than I am. He's 36 years old. And he actually has 2 children. His oldest is a few months older than mine. When I talk to clients like this, I talk about not just the jail time they're serving, but when they could possibly next see their child. If he had gone to prison for the max amount of time, we're talking about not seeing that almost 3-year-old child for almost 2 decades. And there was a lot on the line for him with this. And I think that's what we saw in that emotion when he leaped over the barrier or leaped over the well and hugged his family.
Any sense of what it was, the lack of evidence, perhaps, that there was no, the proverbial smoking gun wasn't found? Do you have an idea of what ultimately swayed the jury here for this not guilty verdict?
So this is me reading tea leaves, but I think what really came down to is understanding what the burden and who holds it. That in a case where you have a single witness that you're asking to provide all of the evidence, an account of what happened on that day, even the collection of evidence that your own law enforcement couldn't find, and ultimately trying to make the decision between whether or not this is a real firearm, which it needs to be in order to substantiate these claims, or a fake gun or prop gun, it's not the defense's role to put on evidence to show that it is or is not. It's the prosecution's role to do so. And I think holding the prosecution to that burden, they ultimately couldn't reach proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
And the jury only deliberated for a few hours. They didn't have any questions. What can you infer from how things went today and really throughout the trial?
I think throughout the trial, they understood who was giving them the evidence, and I don't believe that they truly found them credible. I'm talking about ASAP Relly, or believed the facts as they asserted it. Now, no questions means they didn't need to see the shell casing. They didn't need to have readbacks. They didn't need to watch a video. I think at no point in time did the presumption of innocence, which every person has up until the verdict is read or the jury comes to a conclusion, that presumption of innocence was never wiped away by anything the jury heard. And so for 4 hours, no questions, I bet you it was just maybe two factions of people, regardless of what number, maybe 9 one side, 3 the other ways, or 6 and 6, whatever it is, just going back and forth and saying, this isn't proof beyond a reasonable doubt. There's no smoking gun. We don't know whether it's real or not. We can't trust ASAP Relly. There were just too many flaws in this case, I think, for the prosecution to win.
Brian Buckmeyer, as always, appreciate your insight. Thanks so much. Mike Muse joins us now in studio. So, Mike, we were watching that together as he jumps over the partition into the arms of Rihanna. Your thoughts as you were watching that?
How emotional. And I was thinking that talk about betting on yourself. Faced with the possibility of 6 months in prison versus 24 years in prison, and you push back against that to really defend your innocence. I think there's something really unique about a person who doesn't want to take a plea deal. There's something innate in them that knows that they are innocent and they're willing to take that to court. You felt the weight of that. You also too felt the weight of A$AP Rocky being a father, right? You felt the weight of A$AP Rocky being a partner, right? But then you also too felt the weight of this trial held his career in the balance. A$AP Rocky is on this new trajectory, a new career, not a new career, but to really reestablish himself. We haven't heard any new music from him in the last 10 years. His album is slated this year. He's going to be one of the co-chairs of the Met Gala. That's huge because A$AP Rocky is known for being such a fashion influencer and really setting trends. Sometimes he outshines Rihanna in the last couple of the Met Galas that we've seen in the previous years. He also too has a film coming out with Spike Lee too as well. Also headlining a music festival this year. So much is on the line, and we can't take out the consideration of Rihanna being his partner. We have seen previous situations when the partner gets in trouble, they do bring the spouse into it, right? And for Rihanna to have such a brand that she had, you could not help but bring these two together, although they are separately, independently with their businesses. And so that was on the line for her and so how she was going to be viewed. But something, Lindsay, that really stood out to me throughout this trial is what the judge jury instructions. And I always say that the judge can make or break a case by the way that he gives the jury instructions. Part of the jury instruction that he gave is that you could also say he could pull the prop gun out of self-defense. And I found that to be really interesting. And particularly when you had the key witness, one of the witnesses was ASAP 12, who said that ASAP Rally, who accused him, was actually the aggressor. And so I thought by that witness saying that ASAP Rally was the actual aggressor, then the judge saying you could use self-defense as a reason to say not guilty, that kind of gave me confidence when I saw that the jury had reached a verdict, that this could lean more likely a not guilty verdict because of that. You know,
there was so much debate about whether we were going to see Rihanna in the courtroom or not. Ultimately, we did see her. She brought at least one of their children into court. What kind of role do you think subliminally, potentially, that played as well for the jurors?
That's such a great question. I also too thought that it was a brilliant strategy. I don't know if it's a strategy or just the love of a partner. But I do believe, though, is that it humanized ASAP Rocky. I think for far too often when we see these individuals, when an individual is representing as comes from the hip hop community, there already is a certain biases that are associated with them, right? Because a lot of times, in particular, this is why they leaned into jury selection the way that they did in the beginning, because you want to make sure that jury understands cultural nuance. You want to make sure that jury understands context. You want to understand, just as you and I just discussed, A$AP Rocky is such a fashion influencer. He has a song called Fashion Killer. That doesn't actually mean murder. That just means slang, as you know, Lindsay. Wow, you dressed really well today.
You killed it.
You killed it. But if a juror doesn't understand cultural nuance and context, that could go so wrong. And so I think that part of having Rihanna there, it reminded the jury that this is a father, right? This is a human being who has emotions. And so to try and suspend whatever biases that you have, in particular around the realm trauma Black men, right? Far too often the way media portrays Black men as fatherless, not being present, right? All these things help counter the balance and counter the narrative. I was in conversation once with a defense attorney who said something.
I'm gonna stop sharing. I want to say this. I mean, this is kind of off the grid for a minute, though. It's interesting. And I know he's paying the lawyers, but you could tell they really cared. It's so interesting how there's some circumstances where no matter what color we are, we can all get along. And then there's other circumstances where it's so weird where we just can't seem to get along. But that showed me that really we can all just get along. That was a heartfelt thing there. I don't know. I wasn't there with that situation between A$AP Rocky and A$AP Rocky, but I will say this, that there were a lot of holes in this case, point blank, period. So I started my show early so that I can view that case with y'all. The verdict, not guilty. He got the lucky card. 2025 is his year. Because listen, we saw with the Jonathan Majors case, you can have a video of a person running away and boom, you still are found guilty. So, trial can go either way. I'm happy for A$AP Rocky, and I really hope that he walks a different path from this moment forward. Don't carry your own pow, prop or not. Have the bodyguards. And Riri stood by her man. Tay, your thoughts on this not guilty verdict?
I'm just happy that he not guilty.
Thank you, Tay. Savannah, your thoughts?
Diva, I'm not surprised by this verdict. It seems like we have been experiencing a very long, drawn-out trials that have kind of meshed or merged with. It seems like the YSL just finished, and then the A$AP Rocky came in, and it just wasn't a continuation of the same foolery and mockery of the justice system. And while I agree that there was a lot of holes in this case, and he did have endless amount of financial means to hire some of the best attorneys and defense lawyers and witnesses and experts, and I do not agree with them bringing their children into the courtroom. I don't think that is a place for children under the age of 5. But what disturbs me about these cases is that, we all have the freedom of expression, which is a constitutional, we're entitled to that by the Constitution. But there just seems that these cases have all lacked a certain level of decorum and respect that I grew up in, and that I expect when you're in a courtroom, and all the witnesses that we have seen, and the talking to witnesses while they're on the stand testifying, and I just think it just makes a mockery of the justice system in its entirety. While I'm not surprised that he got off, to me, what's gonna it's gonna be his post actions, and what is he gonna like? He's been given a second chance, and he has 2 young little boys that he needs to be around for, and a family that he needs to be caring for. I'm hoping that he actually learns from this and just change his actions, change his environment, and change his mindset and who he messes or who he hangs around with. I'm not familiar with A$AP, his music, or the people that he's with, but I just see it was a continuation of the YSL trial, and I just the outburst at the end, it was just a little much for me. Because again, I expect in a courtroom that there should be some type of decorum. Do that for when you're outside, but inside, it's. I don't care who you are, how much money you have. There should be a level of respect, and I hope we're not talking about him and some foolery at before the end of 2025, and that's all I have.
Yeah, thank you. Katrina, your thoughts?
What's the old saying? It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And the
Mm.
decorum left when the judge was saying that the mama was pretty. He set the standard in the
Well,
court.
that's
He
facts.
said he set
The tone.
the tone for the courthouse, how they gonna react. I mean, and like I'm with you on Savannah with bringing kids in the courtroom back in the day. You couldn't bring if a child was under the age of 10. They couldn't come in the courtroom unless they was a witness, and they was still held behind closed doors until they was asked to come into court. Um, but as we say, if you got the money to play, you got the money to pay. And the person that sued him, well, the guy that brought the charges, now you not getting no money. Probably ain't nobody gonna want to deal with you now in the music industry. So you have messed yourself up all the way around. And with ASAP, I hope you take this time to realize, look, you might got the protection from the money right now, but it still is gonna hit you back in the face, and somebody gonna be looking for something to charge you with. So you better keep your nose clean, because they just want that one incident for you to go back to court, so they can say, well, he did this in this court, he did this in this court, even though he was found innocent. But you just got to keep your nose clean, stay clean. You with a billionaire, go on an island, live your life, take the children, and stay away. Because sometimes when you get to a certain stature, you can't reach back and hang with the ones that you hung up with, because they want what you have, and they would do anything to try to get it or to bring you down because they jealous. So he just better learn from this. Take this lesson, learn from it. Go to an island. Go somewhere else. Just stay out of this stuff, man. You got this Gucci thing coming out. Just do you, and leave the other mess alone. That's all I got, Diva.
Yeah, thank you. In my opinion, your thoughts?
Well, I'm not surprised. I told y'all the last time we talked about it, he was going to be found not guilty. I told you they dropped the ball in so many places on this case. It was no way the jury could find him guilty. It was so many holes that were saying it's no way you can say he was guilty without a reasonable doubt. Like, it was so many ways. And then when the judge told him, if you thought it was in self-defense, that gave them another hole. You know what I'm saying? So it was so much. It was no way he was going to be found guilty. And of course, he was celebrating because his whole career was on the line. His whole livelihood was on the line. I would have been shocked if he didn't jump up and down and scream. I know people want you to be cordial, but when your life and your career, everything you've worked your whole career for is on the line, yeah, you're going to be excited. It didn't seem like the judge cared, but I hope, like I said, Rihanna, don't put your stuff in his hands, and y'all gonna be fine. Y'all make this work the best way, because we all know she like to pick them damaged people and try to save them. So just as long as she keep her money separate, he keep his money separate, and they do what they gotta do for their kids. So I'm happy for them.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so that was our little early a surprise addition to tonight's trending topics. The title is Shocking Revelations. Wendy Williams' guardian speaks and says that Wendy don't know she have dementia. Then we going to talk about these neglected kids, and then we're going to talk about a shark attack. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. And our first story is going to be Wendy Williams' guardian. This thing is just it's a lot. It's layered. And I get it. I'm not going to say the guardian's lying. If you have dementia, you don't remember things. You may not remember the doctor told you had the diagnosis. I don't know. Okay. Wendy Williams, guardian, insists Star doesn't know she has dementia and claims new mental evaluation will take months. I still feel, regardless, she is privy to have this evaluation. Plus, inside the luxury prison Wendy is staying at in New York City. So Wendy Williams' guardians has claimed the former daytime show host doesn't realize she has dementia and claimed the new mental evaluation will take months. Wendy's guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, made the shocking new allegations in court documents related to her lawsuit against Lifetime for their scathing 2024 documentary, Where is Wendy Williams? In the filing, the guardian asked for a motion to stay or temporarily pause the lawsuit she filed against Lifetime for the documentary after the star insisted in recent interviews that the suit was blood money and she didn't want it pursued. In various recent interviews, Wendy insisted she does not have frontotemporal dementia and has said numerous times she is not in cognitive decline. The guardian, who acts solely for the benefit of Wendy Williams, Wendy Williams Hunter, and her estate, takes these statements seriously, but also recognizes the anorexia, the inability to perceive one's own cognitive impairment, is a common symptom of FTD, the guardian filing stated. Hold on one second, guys. Given the questions that have been raised and the misrepresentations that have been made in the press following Wendy Williams' recent statements, the Guardian now seeks a short stay of discovery so that a highly qualified expert can perform a renewed medical evaluation of Wendy to supplement the extensive medical evaluations and diagnosis that Wendy has already received, and to provide professional medical guidance on whether and how Wendy can participate in this case, including in discovery. Sabrina once again cast doubt on the new evaluation change in Wendy's diagnosis. In the unlikely event the new medical examination concludes that, contrary to her prior formal diagnosis, Wendy Williams is presently capable of directing her own legal affairs, the Guardian will have no reason to continue this action on her behalf. The Guardian claimed that that should the evaluation stand, we will proceed with the Lifetime lawsuit to fulfill her fiduciary obligation to pursue a substantial financial recovery for Wendy that will help pay for her long-term care. The Guardian's filing then drops a bomb, disclosing that the evaluation will take months, not days, as other news outlets previously reported. The requested stay will be limited in duration. The Guardian understands that it will likely take a few months at most to complete the medical evaluation and will not unduly prejudice any party, the Guardian's filing continue. To the contrary, it will provide the court and the parties with a renewed medically informed basis for determining whether the litigation should proceed and under whose direction, and will provide the public with a greater understanding of the nature of the claims and defenses at issue in this litigation. For these reasons, as set forth more fully below, the Guardian respectfully requests that the court stay discovery pending the result of Wendy's supplemental medical reevaluation. Elsewhere in the motion, the Guardian gets more specific, claiming the evaluation will take between 2 and 3 months. The filing then detailed how Wendy got to where she is today in a senior living facility on a locked floor, which the TV star has called a luxury prison. The filing references the U.S. Sun's exclusive report that Wendy was diagnosed with alcohol-related brain damage, that she was hospitalized for a psychiatric evaluation, how she lost her infamous The Wendy Williams Show, and her disturbing interviews in the aftermath. Sabrina then alleged again that Lifetime took advantage of Wendy's decline. Meanwhile, Lifetime has claimed that the Guardian is angry about she herself was portrayed in the docuseries as the true basis for her filing. In the filing, the Guardian further claimed it bears re-emphasizing that the Guardian, as Wendy Williams' fiduciary, has no personal stake in the outcome of this litigation and is solely focused on protecting the financial and personal well-being of Wendy. Interestingly, however, it does seem the public pressure has made Wendy's reevaluation all the more important to the Guardian, who went on to say that the public has somewhat of a right to know, despite her constant reminders that everything in Wendy's guardianship case is sealed. The filing said, furthermore, Wendy has recently been making statements in the media, and they have been widely reported. This has created somewhat of a media storm and public debate about whether Wendy is incapacitated and whether she requires the care of a residential long-term care facility, a controversy whose flames are fanned almost daily in the tabloid media. The public thus has an interest in receiving an answer to the questions that have been raised by the media in response to Wendy's statements, and in a medical evaluation confirming Wendy's incapacity or contradicting it, will assist in answering the public's expressed concern about what it is best for Wendy in connection with this litigation. Her filing concluded. Hold on one second. Over the weekend, as the battle over the star's guardianship rages on, Sabrina allowed Wendy permission to visit her father in Miami for his 94th birthday celebrations. And then it talks about the luxury prison. As the U.S. Sun previously revealed, Wendy has been living in a studio apartment in an upscale New York City senior facility memory care unit for the past 6 months. The studio in Manhattan high-rise goes for $13,000 a month, plus an additional $20,000 to $40,000 on top of her rent for her stay in the memory care unit specifically. So, you know, they claim that they put her in the memory care unit because she was found, you know, drunk in the facility's restaurant. But did they put her in this memory care unit, now that I'm seeing this, so that they can get additional funds out of Wendy? We don't know, and we might not ever know. The U.S. Sun has chosen not to name the facility for privacy reasons. The Wendy Williams show host has said in recent interviews that the floor she's living on is locked and she's not allowed to leave. Fellow residents in Wendy units are seniors with Alzheimer's disease or dementia. Fight for freedom. The U.S. Sun previously exclusively reported that Wendy's guardianship attorney filed a petition last week. I think this is just going over old stuff. That is a picture. The dad is 94. God bless him. That's Wendy. That's her son. Strong genes in this family, because that's 3 generations right there. And they all, you could tell, are definitely related. Okay. And that's Denise there in the denim shorts there. You know, and that's the niece that I want to say started the GoFundMe to kind of help Wendy get a new lawyer so that they can question this guardianship. Tay, your thoughts on the Guardian pretty much saying that Wendy doesn't even know she has dementia, but I'll go ahead and apply for, you know, some more evaluation. What are your thoughts?
Sabrina is nothing but greed, hungry money, and a bad guardian too at the same time. You don't care about Wendy. You still gonna suck her dry for the money and gonna keep her in prison like she's a child. And like a prisoner too. Mess me with a foolery, Sabrina. That's all, Diva.
Thank you so much. Savannah, your thoughts?
Diva, at this point, I don't want to hear from Sabrina. I don't want to hear from Lifetime, Kevin Jr., the niece, Kevin Sr. What I want to hear from are medical officials. I want to hear from doctors who have done evaluations on Wendy. I want to see medical receipts on what she is being treated for, because honestly, I don't believe every new week there is every week we're getting a new layer to this Wendy saga, and I just think there's nuggets of truth in their story, but they're all CYA. Each and every single one of them are doing CYA, and it is all just to calm the public fear and outcry on what we're seeing of the care and handling of Wendy Williams. It just seems general. It seems like a first and foremost a money grab, and everyone trying to keep their hands in the pot versus actually having the best interest in a because we all can agree from what we've seen in the documentary to what we see Wendy now, there has been significant improvement where she is more responsive and cognizant, and but I just all this, you know, I'm it's just sad to me. It's sad because they're neglecting the first and foremost objective, and that is to get a better, stronger Wendy with her freedoms as she is she is protected by in the Constitution, but and not having these restrictions on her that actually could be helping her. With the way that they monitor her, it just seems suspicious and inhumane at sometimes. I want to hear medical professionals at this point. I don't want to hear from the guardian at all. So that's all I had to.
Thank you. Julius, your thoughts?
I'm at the point where I just want to hear from the medical professionals, the psychiatrists, not the ones who are paid off, the independent ones who have independent merit. That's where I'm at with it. That's it. That's all.
Thank you, Katrina.
Yeah, she's saying it takes like months and something to get evaluation. Not really. You can have an MRI done or a CAT scan to see if there's any deterioration in her brain. Um, when they, I ain't saying she doesn't have Alzheimer's. I'm not saying she do, but she know how to go up the stairs and get to that alcohol. So some working in her brain. She know where to go. If she got Alzheimer's, she didn't forget that she was an alcohol. I'm not gonna say she's an alcoholic, but they say she's an alcoholic. Allegedly an alcoholic. She didn't forget that part. Because mainly, if she's not in her right mind, but she still remember to drink, that's a little weird. And she knew exactly where to go to get that alcohol. But she got Alzheimer's. I'm not saying that she don't. And maybe she don't remember she got Alzheimer's. That's some crazy mess. If she got Alzheimer's, she wouldn't know nothing about her father, her son. She wouldn't know her dad's birthday. She wanted to go to Miami where he's at.
It's different levels of
Yeah,
it.
it's different. Yeah, it's different levels on it too, especially the alcohol induced kind. But what I'm just saying is they have plenty of ways to see have her brain deteriorated. They can do a CAT scan, and they can do an MRI. So she's talking about months. That's a lie. It doesn't take months. She's saying that to buy herself some time. But that's all I got.
Thank you. I appreciate you. In my opinion, your thoughts?
Well, I wish somebody would have asked Sabrina when she came out. Was the worker lying too? Because didn't the worker come out and say nothing was wrong with her? You could tell her something, and 2 weeks later she didn't know it. So it's not just Wendy out here speaking. I just need Sabrina to shut up and do what she's supposed to be doing. It don't take 2 to 3 months for you to get it set up. Anybody can call and set up an appointment, and especially if you are a guardian and this is this kind of case, you could definitely get stuff pushed through and get her appointment quicker than that. She doesn't want to. And I'm pretty sure she has people that's lined up that she's paying under the table to say whatever she needs them to say to keep her locked up here. And I just pray that those folks that's in that care facility, if they know something, that they come on and speak up. And I hate that this is where we going with this, but if somebody don't tell the truth, I feel the worst is gonna happen to Wendy. Because now that she's speaking out, they're finna try to find a way to silence her. And I'm sad to even think that, but that's the next thing. They're gonna have to silence her some kind of way. And I don't even want to think of what they're gonna do to silence her.
Thank you. In my opinion, Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, Wendy ain't getting out until all her money gone. That's what this is. You know, they keep on talking about, oh, it's going to take this time. But I said, the last time we talked about there, I said, she's talking about the doctor. I'm sure it's going to be their doctor. Everything is going to be them. They're going to be initiating everything. Okay, so what do you think the doctor going to say? The doctor in on it too. I don't think they have any intentions of releasing her till the money is gone. And now what she's doing. She's trying, because with this lawsuit, Sabrina was talking about, well, if we find that she's not, this, that, and we're going to pursue the lifetime, to get the money for that, so she can be taken care of. Okay, so when her money is gone, they gonna ditch her like a bum. It's not gonna be all this concerned about her and all this stuff. And also, as far as the dementia, I heard that, I read somewhere, heard online, they were saying there was alcoholic dementia. It's the alcoholism, or the alcohol has thrown her into in dementia, which she can recover from. So it wasn't permanent. Okay, but they're gonna make her look crazier and crazier to have a reason to keep. That's the only way they're gonna be able to keep her in, is to make her look incompetent and make her look like she got dementia and all this stuff. They're already saying she doesn't remember, but she doesn't know that she doesn't know she has dementia. It's all kind. They coming up with everything. Oh, it's gonna be. It takes a few months. Sabrina is getting her salary taken care of. She want to make sure she covered for at least a few more months. This is all about money. They need to let Wendy go home. If she want to drown herself in a bottle, that's her business. If she want to give away all her money, that's her business. If the end is that because she got a guardianship and all this stuff and she end up broke, okay, I'd rather be broke because I spent the money, not because somebody else spent it.
Yeah.
Or caused me to spend it. I saw that movie. Dave, you saw that movie where this happens to people.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Oh my God, that movie was so sad. I can't think of the name of it right now, but you are correct. I know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. And that woman had, she was, I guess, well-to-do, whatever, but she only had a son. He came once. He was sent a cab for her once a week. Okay, and somebody befriended her, blah blah blah, got her, knew what she had, this, that, and the other, and knew her circle. Nothing was wrong with her. And not the caretaker, but the I guess the representative, whoever from the government who assigns these people, say that something wrong with them. Her, the judge, they was all in on it, and had this woman removed from her house. Said that she couldn't take care of herself. And her son sent the cab, I think, on a normal day, and he wasn't there. So he goes there. Her house is like, everything is gone. And it wasn't nothing wrong with this woman. She was older. She wasn't like, elderly, but nothing was wrong with it. So they need to let Wendy going out, enjoy her family. Well, she's 60, almost 70 years old. Okay? If she wants to go out on alcohol high, that's her business. Okay? If we grabbed everybody because they drank and had a few dollars,
nobody would be on the street.
Right.
Nobody would be on the streets. But I'm gonna roll into the next story.
Okay.
On point with that. The next story is pretty sad. A mother left her kids, abandoned her kids for 4 years. They were living in horrific conditions. Let me share the screen. Let me see. Is this what I want to show first? Yeah. Just incredibly sad.
Tonight, we are continuing to cover a case that is stunning Metro Detroit. 3 children rescued from squalid conditions. Their mother now under arrest. Thank you so much for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 11. I'm Whitney Burney. Their mother allegedly abandoning the children in 2020 or 2021, leaving a 15-year-old boy, 13-year-old girl, and a 12-year-old girl, only leaving food once a week. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard saying, quote, "This situation would be deemed deplorable and intolerable for an animal, and it is utterly unacceptable for 3 children." 7 News Detroit reporter Tierra Braddock spoke to Sheriff Bouchard today, as well as a neighbor reacting to the chilling revelations. We do want to warn you, some of the details of this story are very disturbing.
Just a few days ago, Oakland County Sheriff deputies came to this house behind me to do a welfare check on a woman. But when they got inside, they didn't find her, but they did discover her 3 kids who had been abandoned, living in deplorable conditions.
Everybody's upset about it. Like, oh my God, this is right in our neighborhood. How could something like this happen?
Pontiac resident Emma Gross lives a few streets over from the home where the kids were found. The Oakland County Sheriff's Office says the house was covered in piles of trash as high as 4 feet in some rooms. There was even mold and human feces throughout the house.
It's pretty heartbreaking that the kids would have to live under those conditions.
Sheriff Michael Bouchard tells me a 15-year-old boy and his 2 sisters, ages 12 and 13, hadn't been outside the home in years and were surviving off of weekly drop-offs of prepared food.
It kind of reminds me of the commercials you see where animals are living in very deplorable conditions. Well, kind of take that times 10. And that's what the kids were living in for years.
The boy told deputies that his mother abandoned them back in either 2020 or 2021. Deputies were recently called because the landlord of the home asked for them to do a welfare check.
The landlord said he hadn't seen her for some time. And I think, as our detectives mentioned, that hadn't paid her rent going back to October.
The kid's mother was arrested on Friday, and Bouchard says she had been living somewhere else in Pontiac. The kids hadn't been in school since they were abandoned.
Well, that's going to be a very long process to figure this all out. Not just how they are, both mentally and physically, but how did this ever happen to have these kids fall through the cracks on so many levels with relatives, the community, and with schools?
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
I've seen, child neglect and other situations where they're living in bad places, but not to this level and not for this extended duration.
The mother will be facing criminal charges, and in the meantime, her kids are now staying with a relative. In Pontiac, Tierra Braddock, 7 News Detroit.
All right, Tierra, thank you for your reporting on this heartbreaking story. We are certainly sending our love to those 3 children involved. If you ever suspect a child is in danger, please speak up. The number on your screen is Michigan's Abuse and Neglect Hotline. That number is 855-444-3911. We also have that information with this story on our website, wxyz.com.
So incredibly sad. Hold on one second. No, and that's what I'm saying. Nobody was checking for these kids for years. What about the school? So 3 kids found living in absolute squalor after mom abandoned them 4 years ago. 3 children were found living in absolute squalor in a Michigan home riddled with mold and human waste after their mother abandoned them and left them to live on their own without soap or toilet paper for at least 4 years, authorities said. The 34-year-old mother, who has not been identified as she shares the same name with one of the children, was arrested Friday, the Oakland County Sheriff's Office said. Human waste, mold, and garbage piles towered up to 4 feet were found throughout the Potomac rental home, where the children survived on food their mother or a stranger dropped off each week. The children, a 15-year-old boy and 2 girls ages 12 and 13, have been alone in the home without supervision since 2020 or 2021, the boy told deputies, according to the sheriff's office. Deputies found the home in deplorable shape when responding to a welfare check requested by their landlord, who was concerned something happened because he had not heard from the mother since December and had not received a rent payment since October. Garbage was piled as high as 4 feet in some rooms. Mold and human waste was found throughout, with the toilet overflowing and feces in the bathtub, the sheriff's office said. Deputies checked the residence for occupants and found the boy and his sisters. While food was dropped off weekly, the children received no personal hygiene products or toilet paper. They were found wearing soiled clothes. Oh my God. Their hair matted and with toenails so long it was difficult for them to walk, according to cops. The children also seemed unfamiliar with how to use personal hygiene items and did not know how to flush a toilet, according to authorities. They also had been out of school for years and said spending their days watching television and playing games. Authorities said it also appeared as though the girls had not been outside in years. The boys slept on a mattress on the floor while the 2 girls slept on pizza boxes. And authorities said the conditions inside were so poor and evidence technician had to don a hazmat suit to process the scene. Sheriff Michael described the children's living condition as abuse of the highest order and vowed their mother would face the consequences of her actions. The situation would be deemed deplorable and intolerable for an animal, and is utterly unacceptable for your 3 children, Michael said. While the mother had some contact with her teenage son, the young girls have been deprived of any interaction with their mother, Michael said. The far-reaching consequences of this abuse must be acknowledged, he added. Neighbors told deputies they didn't know children lived in the home because they never saw them outside, but they did see the mother occasionally drop things off. The children were taken to the hospital for evaluation and have since been placed in the custody of a relative. Their mother was found in another location and arrested without incident. She said the children's father was not involved in their lives. After asking for clothing donations for the children on Monday, the sheriff's office on Tuesday shared they are now only accepting donations for educational supplies and further funds for their future well-being, because probably they got an overwhelming response for clothing for these kids. I can't even begin to process this. Tay, your thoughts?
These children did not ask to be brought in this earth right here. They do not deserve that. And you been there since 2020 and the COVID-19 like that. You be shame yourself, Mom. As a matter of fact, you ain't no mom either. You don't deserve a Mother of the Year award at all. And to the relevance, they did not hear the kids about 4 and 5 days. 4 and 5 years. Village had to come together, make sure the kids is okay. It take the village to come together. I said good for the mom to lock up right there. Those kids do not deserve like that. And the school did not see their students not come to the school at all. I'm done, Diva. I'm done.
Thank you, Savannah. Your thoughts?
These cases just keep getting worse and worse, and as we cover them here on your program, Diva, this was a complete failure from every system, every human, and I think I'm for starting to not keep their faces, not the children, but these I don't even know what to call her because she's not a mother, but from these families who failed to be there for these for children who they know exist and are in danger. Where are the family members, the grandmothers, aunties, uncles, grandfathers? Where are the fathers to these children? These children, no one has looked out for their well-being in 4+ years. The school systems, where are the teachers? I remember myself growing up in the 80s, we had truant officers, and I don't think they exist anymore. And that's something that I would be in favor of getting back. I know if my grandbaby misses a day of school, we get a phone call immediately saying that she hasn't shown up for school. And that's not enough. Some teachers or school officials should be going to these homes and checking on these children's well-being overall. I'm not going to buy the mother had a mental illness or anything like that. I think she was completely neglectful, and the children probably got in the way of her living her best life. I think that this was, I'm glad that they were rescued, and I can't imagine the damage that this has done to these children, especially the young girls. mentally, because they were all of age where they're going to need some serious counseling. Uh, I just this is absolutely heartbreaking, and it seems that this um, Michigan Department of Children and Family Services, they need this. Now, this is one agency I would be in favor of. 47 going in and gutting out and firing folks, and let's get in here and do an overhaul. I've always said that the Department of Family Services needed an overhaul, but they also need some training, some programs, and definitely some more money in caseworkers. I can recall volunteering in Department of Children and Families during my college years, and how much I cried to see a broken system and to hear that 20 plus years later it's still broken. It's no wonder agencies are being gutted right now. So my heart breaks for them. I hope they are sleeping well tonight and have a good hot meal in their bellies. That's all I have.
Yeah, thank you. Julius, your thoughts?
I hope those babies are safe and sound. As for the deadbeat egg donor, I hope Susie and Mousy May deal with her in the clink.
Thank you. Katrina, your thoughts? Are you there, Katrina? All right. In my opinion, your thoughts?
Okay, so this is coming from Michigan too. I'm convinced Michigan don't give a dang about the black community whatsoever. The kids there is suffering, and it needs to be a whole haul of their whole justice department. I'm not gonna talk on this lady because this is a disgusting example of what a woman is. I just don't know what possesses somebody. If those kids are 15, 13, and 12 now, that means she left these babies when they was like 7, 8.
Oh, God. Oh, I didn't even think
How
about
do
that.
you suffer? How do you make a kid suffer like that? And you drop off prepared foods weekly? Like, who does that? That house could have, anything could have happened. They could have played with the stove or something. The house could have just burned up with them babies in there. How do you consciously? And I'm not buying that the neighbors didn't know this neither. Eventually, she had to move in with these kids. Nobody saw these kids ever before she left. Like, what, did she move in and then just leave the kids there? I'm not understanding this story. It sucks. The school system, they ain't been to school in 4 years. Nobody's reached out and say, hey, well, they didn't withdraw from this school, so they can't be in another school. Where are these kids going to school now? There was so many gaps in this thing that I don't even understand. And why are they with the family now? If the family ain't been around these kids in 4 years, they strangers to them. They dropped the ball too. I'm disgusted with this story. I'm disgusted with the state of Michigan because this is what y'all doing to our youth.
In my opinion, you brought up a very good opinion. Marcy said they were 6, 7, and 8. She left them kids at 6, 7, and 8. She needs to rot up underneath the jail. Wayne, your thoughts?
I'm with my opinion on this one. And all I can think about, and I ain't no big component, just throwing everybody in jail. But this woman, this mother didn't just take away their life, their life. She took it beyond, because they said these kids, they didn't even know how to use hygiene stuff. And like opinion, somebody knew. This is Michigan. If they've been in that house 4 years, I know they've been having sub-zero, sub-degree weather up there. So somebody must have been paying to keep the electricity going or something. So I'm like opinion. I'm not buying it. Family members, you know, nobody ain't seen the kids in 4 years, and nobody do. You know, it's a scripture. The Bible said, "I am my brother's keeper." People knew, they just didn't want to do nothing.
Oh my
They
God.
turned their head. Well, not my problem. It don't affect me. People just turn a blind eye. And these kids, probably like the ones 6 and 7, if she's been this bad with these kids and left them abandoned like this, how much raising you think they got from the cradle to it? You know, haven't been to school. They probably don't know how to. They don't know how to socialize with kids. So they need to give her some time. I'm not buying, you know, whatever excuse she got, whatever. She needs to be put away so she can have some time to think about what pain she has caused these kids. It's just unbelievable. I can't believe 4 years, and nothing was done.
And you wasn't dropping off no toilet paper, no soap, no washcloths. You wasn't.
And these babies had to go through they had to go through their menstrual cycles and everything with no warning, no telling them how to take care of it or nothing.
And that's even if they got it, in my opinion. I wonder if they was malnutrition, because how would they know? Stick the foot. Oh my God, this woman is a disgrace. This is the worst I've ever seen.
But then this where that lady was staying in the van with her kids in Michigan. So Michigan is piss poor.
Yeah, anti-Afro. Thank you so much for the super chat. People forget that become a mother or father only means biologically functioned for the kids to be produced. After that, depends on whether either biological parent gives a damn. Some do not. I think they need to start holding these fathers accountable too. So you didn't want to see about your kids for 4 years. You wasn't asking about them. Can you speak to them? This is horrific. Katrina, your thoughts?
Yeah, Diva, I'm sorry about before. This just go to show you everybody can be a mom, but it take a real woman to be a mother. This is no mother. What they need to do is, I don't even think she need to be in jail. I think they need to let her stay right at that house. I think they need to move her in that house. She need to stay there. So that way she would see exactly what her children went through. And then you have the nerve enough to drop food off and leave like, okay, these are pets, these are dogs. Let me feed my dogs before I go back to where I'm going, to my clean house or wherever she was living. This is ridiculous. This is pathetic. This is just this nasty beyond belief. I mean, they 16 and 15. I'm surprised they didn't go out the door, but they playing video games. So as Wayne was saying, somebody was paying the rent or had to be paying the rent, but she stopped paying in December.
Mother was. She stopped paying in October.
And then she was paying electricity bill and everything. So you live in two different lives. This give me the case of Flowers in the Attic. I don't know if y'all ever seen that movie before. It's like she wanted to be with a man and had the kids living in the attic. Like they didn't even exist, like they weren't even hers. This woman is ridiculous. This like I said, jail is too good for her. Put her in that place where she had those kids living. Let her live in Squalor and see how she likes it. Cause she don't know exactly. She knew. I mean, for these children, these girls. I mean, it's better yet the boy, but the girls, girl. When my kids was born, I'm looking in the bed, making sure they breathing. I'm scared to go to sleep. Like, ooh, if I wake up one of my, I'm scared to go to sleep. I'm looking, I'm feeling they under their nose and everything, making sure they belly's going up and down, making sure they're breathing. And you can leave your children like that. You can leave them like that. So you have no heart. You have no heart. So these people shouldn't have no heart. They should put put your tail right in that house where you had these kids living. And y'all, they doing all this and still Vera locked up for chicken. And these people right here running around. This is ridiculous and sad on so many levels. And I wish so much best for these kids. I wish so much. I wish they have every opportunity, every chance they have. I'm quite sure they're not knowledgeable because they're not going to school. I just wish everything for them. I just want good things to happen for these children. They came from this, but this don't have to define them. They can get out and do something better so they won't ever have to go back to that life again. And that's what I wish for them. I pray for them.
A lot of
It's
therapy.
sad.
Lot
It's
of
sad. A lot of
I'm
they're gonna need a
handy.
lot of therapy.
Yeah,
It's
Handy V,
sad.
I'm agreeing with you. The sad part about it is, I bet you they didn't have a bath in years. This is so sad because they said they didn't even know how to use hygiene products. She wasn't dropping off tissue. She wasn't dropping off nothing. When she walked there, she saw them kids' hair was matted and everything else. She's a disgrace.
It also said they didn't know how to flush the toilet.
Yeah. Oh my God.
She didn't teach them nothing.
Well, what in my opinion hit the nail on the head.
How can you teach them if they 6, 7, and 8 when you leave them?
That even worse.
Ugh. Oh my God, this is so sad. I'll stay connected to this story to see what ends up happening with this mother. She should be rotting up underneath the jail. Let me go ahead and share screen and go into the last story where this tourist got both her hands taken off during a shark attack. Let's listen.
Two separate shark attacks off the Florida Panhandle over the last week, sparking fears among beachgoers. So far, there have been at least 7 reported shark attacks this year. Let's bring in Mike Heithouse. He is a marine ecologist specializing in sharks. So this happened off of Walton County. One young girl, I think she was 16 years old, lost a large part of her right leg and one of her hands, and that same day by a shark. Is this just what happens when people get in the water?
Okay, I don't think this is the one. I'm sorry, guys. Let me, I got to go back to it. That's not the one I was looking for. Hold on one second. Let me share screen again. Let me share screen again. Miss K and J, thank you so much for the super chat. Showing deep appreciation for Black History Month. Thanks for keeping us engaged. Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So let me go ahead and share screen with the story. I don't know. That's not the video that I had queued, that I wanted queued up. So let me just go. Maybe.
And while Diva find the story, y'all hit the like button, please.
Okay, I think maybe let's share. Maybe part of the story. It does have that in it, but we'll go to this right here. So tourist who lost both hands to shark tried to protect herself from second attack can only be described as a nightmare. So the tourist who had both hands bitten by a shark in Turks and Caicos had put them up to try to protect herself as the shark came at her a second time after first biting her thigh, her family said, calling this something that can only be described as a nightmare. The 55-year-old Canadian was swimming off the Providence, the main island of the Caribbean, in just hip-deep water on February the 7th when the 7-foot bull shark attacked. Her brother-in-law, Al, detailed in an online fundraiser seeking help covering medical costs. After bumping into her leg in the shadows, the shark then circled around and sank its jaws into her thigh. The brother-in-law wrote in both English and French of his brother's wife, with whom did not otherwise identify. Not satisfied, the shark came back again, and when she put both hands in front of her to protect herself, the shark cut off both of her hands, one in mid-forearm and the other at the wrist, he continued. The woman's husband, a 30-year veteran of the Canadian Armed Forces, jumped into the water to help and managed to wrestle away the shark and stayed between her and the shark until she walked out of the water and collapsed on the beach. The victim's relatives did not indicate whether she had been trying to take a photograph with the giant fish, as claimed by the Turks and Caicos Department of Environment and Coastal Resources. Disturbing photos from the scene showed panicked bystanders in swimwear surrounded the woman as she laid in pain on the sand, attempting to hold cloths over her wrists to curb the bleeding. She was rushed to the local hospital on the island for initial treatment, but was flown back to Canada for additional surgeries and treatment, the brother-in-law, who is from Quebec, said. While on what was supposed to be a relaxing vacation, my sister-in-law, her husband, my brother lived what can only be described as a nightmare, he said. His brother and sister-in-law lives have been completely altered in the blink of an eye, he said. Thompson's Cove Beach was shut down but reopened on February the 9th. The same day, 2 American tourists were attacked by a shark in the Bahamas. Shark attacks are relatively rare off the coast of Turks and Caicos, with only one unprovoked attack confirmed last year, according to the University of Florida's International Shark Attack File, which tracks such data. However, in 2023, a 22-year-old Connecticut woman had her leg bitten off by a shark while snorkeling near a resort out there also. So wait, this is the correct video I have. I'll go back and play it. Super sad, but you know, I don't mess around too much when I go on vacation. No, I don't need a picture with some crazy animals. No, I'm very careful. So hold on one second. Let's play this.
This is a really unfortunate event. To have a few attacks on the same day is really fairly unheard of. But, you know, it is summer. Water temperatures are going up, which means a lot more people in the water. And, you know, we have sharks moving into these areas of the Northern Gulf. So, you know, when you go to the beach, pay attention to the signs that are out there. But, you know, for the most part, driving to the beach is more dangerous than actually going in the water when it comes to sharks.
Well, unfortunately, a cold comfort for the people who do become victim to shark attacks. The 16-year-old girl, my understanding is, was playing around swimming at a sandbar. Those can be particularly dangerous, yes?
Well, that's one place you might want to avoid being, because those sandbars kind of next to deep water, that can kind of channel sharks and they'll swim along those. So, yeah, that is one place that you might want to avoid. You also want to look out for murky water, or if you see lots of bait fish that might attract sharks, those are things that you want to avoid when you're at the beach. And yeah, the sandbars are another place that you might want to stay away from.
Yeah, a lot of people might be looking at this and say, wow, what's been happening in the last few years? There's been all these shark attacks. But look at this graph that we'll put up on the screen. This goes back 12 years to 2012. It's been pretty consistent. I mean, there was a low ebb in 2020. I imagine that's due to the pandemic, though there were the most number of fatal attacks, 3 that year. But, I mean, it seems to be pretty consistent here, Mike.
Yeah, you know, the thing about shark attacks is we hear about almost all of them around the world, but year to year, there's some bigger years, there's some lower years, but there's really not a big trend. And usually the thing that's the biggest predictor of how many attacks there are going to be how many people are in the water.
Yeah.
And throughout most of the world, shark populations are actually in real trouble, which is something we should care about because, you know, even though they can be dangerous to us, sharks are important for the health of oceans.
So real quick, Mike, just to close out here, other than staying out of the water altogether, is there something people can do to limit the chances that they'll be a victim?
Well, number one, I'd say get in the water because it is a good place to be, but avoid murky water, avoid sunrise and sunset. Don't swim where people are fishing, and, you know, maybe avoid those sandbars.
All right. Mike Heighthouse, good to talk with you, sir. Thank you. Hopefully we won't get too much more bad news this summer. Appreciate it. Sandra?
Very sad. She lost both her hands. Sad on vacation. Tay, your thoughts?
This remind me Soul Survival when the girl who did the surf when she lost one of her arms. This is where it remind me of, Diva. It is a true story too. One, I don't get into the ocean. I never will ever, because it's bad to get in the sea where you know there's to be a shark attack right there. Every time you hear shark attack, you better get out. You better get out the sea. Never get in the water. When you see a shark get there, it will come get you. Because the shark knows you are the fool. You better get out while you can. That's all, Diva.
Thank you so much. Savannah, your thoughts?
It is certain that every year there's going to be shark attacks occurring, and they're more and more frequent because people do get careless when they go into the waters. And there are a lot of signs that you're supposed to look out for before you go into the ocean, whether you see a flock of birds or the fish migrating, or if it's murky. But usually tourists, I mean, I was just in Florida this past weekend, and there were a bunch of tourists just in the water being careless and doing, what tourists do. It's unfortunate. I recall the movie that Tay-Tay's talking about. I've seen it as well. This and as the waters get warmer, and it is rare off Turks and Caicos because the current doesn't really. But these sharks are always going to win when you get in the water. So if you're not careful and vigilant, you more than likely will have something in the water, whether it's a shark, a turtle. See the stingrays, they're out there. So and I don't go into the ocean. I'm afraid more of the rip currents than sea life, but I don't play with the ocean. I stay poolside as much as I can.
I'm with you at the pool, Savannah. We're good. Okay. Wayne, your thoughts?
Sharks just doing what they do.
Mm.
And most shark attacks are usually because they think you, prey, like an animal, a seal or something like that, and some of these people, you'd be surprised that people just don't know, aren't that educated. Like they said that bull shark, like that guy was in an article, you don't want to be in the water like in the morning or at sunset. Because there's a man down here that went out for a swim just like in the early morning, and boom, he hit the water and they was on it. And he was so mangled up. But anyway, so these sharks, they're just doing what they do. I went on a cruise to the Cayman Islands, and I did the little snorkeling thing, and I had swam so far because you got the fins on, you can go, I was so far away from where I started. I could see the cruise ship that was docked on the other side. And I said that to say, like, these people were in Caribbean waters. And I was just thinking, oh my God, I was like a sitting duck. Because it took a minute to get back to where I started, so I just see how I put myself in that kind of danger. Just not being, because I'm not thinking about any sharks or nothing like that, But these people, they get in these waters and the sharks, and they just doing what they do. And I've been in Florida 25 years. And I go to the beach, but I go at a distance. I ain't got to put my feet in the water, walk on the sand and all that stuff. I can be on the pier. Enjoy it just the same. I'm done.
Yeah, thank you, Julius.
Me and the sharks have an understanding. I mind my business. I stay out their way. They know I'm in the vicinity, but I mind my business. I don't mess with them. Look, I don't want them to turn around and act like their grand uncle ancestor Jaws. We good over her. We had that understanding, like Escape say.
Yeah, it's very sad. In my opinion, your thoughts? It's sad that she went on vacation. Now she's minus 2 hands.
Well, I went to Turks and Caicos and had an amazing time. I actually got in the ocean. Had I saw this story, I probably wouldn't have. But luckily, there were no sharks out. There were no attacks or nothing like that. It's a risk. You take a risk when you get in these waters. And sometimes the reward pays out and sometimes it doesn't. And in this case, it was really, really sad. I hate that it bumped into her and she didn't realize it. She didn't get away because usually if you know, kind of like run from them, they'll get shot for a minute and kind of leave you alone unless you know, actually have blood coming from you from somewhere because that's really what enticed them. I don't know. I hope she wasn't out there trying to take pictures. That's the dumbest thing in the world. For you to go out there and think you finna take pictures with a big old 7-foot shark. So I'm praying that she wasn't out there trying to take pictures with them.
Yeah.
Because that's really stupid, playing with your life like that. And everybody just be careful when you get in these waters.
Oh no, I'm with Savannah. We poolside. Thank you. Katrina, your thoughts?
It's sad to say, but the people getting in that water, they getting what they asked for. So that's just like you coming to my house and I got you in my house and you trying to take over. They going into these sharks' home. That's where the sharks live. Like when you said, the sharks doing what they have to. They doing what they do, and in the early morning and sunrise is feeding time for them. And if a dolphin can swim up that close, what make you think a shark can't? So you get in that water, you taking a chance on yourself, and that's the risk you're taking because you're invading their home. They didn't come on land and bite you. You went in their house, and they feel like, okay, well, you in my house, let me go ahead and take a bite. But it's sad that she lost her arm and her hand. Did the shark eat the camera?
She I don't know, but she lost both her hands. And one of them they said was up to the forearm.
That shark was hungry. It's sad. But yeah, you taking the risk when you getting in that water. You taking the risk you can get in riptides. Like Savannah said, stingray, jellyfish, it's all types of stuff in that ocean that you don't even know about. And that ocean is nothing to play with. It's pretty, it's beautiful whatsoever, but it's not a game. You can be standing in one spot and the water can be up to my hips. And I can look over and see the person standing next to me, the water can be in their chest. It's unpredictable. You don't know what's under there. So you taking a chance when you walking out there in that water, getting in these you coming into their home and they protecting their home. So I feel sorry for it, but you just have to be careful when you go into the ocean. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Diva,
Yeah.
they watching too many YouTube videos. They
Yep.
watch these videos and they see these people, they're professionals, or some of these videos are just made up and make it look like animals are so kind and you know, and the animal led you away from something, you know, stuff like that, and thinking these animals are really friendly.
I agree with you.
And they go out petting them, getting in their face. I mean, you know.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, everybody's doing everything now for the Instagram, for the social media, for the TikTok, and they're going wild and they're going crazy. And you know, like I said, you never know who's telling the truth in these stories. You know, the people in Turks and Caicos saying that, you know, she was doing a photo op and the photo op went wrong. The family is saying no, that's not true. But whether it's true or not, at this point, she has no hands. And she was just on vacation. Good gosh. I don't do all this crazy adventurous stuff when I go on vacation. I keep it simple, clean. We can go to a museum. I'll go look at some things. I told you at that time they was calling that monkey so I could see the monkey for what? And then you could take a picture with the monkey. I'm good. Take no picture with the monkey. Then I'm home back at the hotel and I'm starting to swell up and I got a fever and whatever. I'm good. No, that's okay. I don't need to have no monkey on my arm or shoulder so I can take a picture for the Instagram with the people. Why? I'll pass. But, you know, I think people be doing too much on these vacations. Want to stand next to a cliff and take a picture. No. If I slip and fall, I'm good. Anyway, guys, thank y'all for being here tonight. ASAP Rocky found not guilty. Yes, it was, Andy B. You remember. Look at you. Thanks for being with me so long. Yeah, I was like, no, I'm good. I went to the spa. I'll do stuff like that. I don't need to have all of these crazy pictures. No, I do not. So, ASAP Rocky found not guilty. Wendy Williams' guardian saying she don't know she had dementia. The neglected kids was the saddest. Well, between the neglected kids and this shark attack, they're both very sad stories on different levels. But these neglected kids where their hair was matted, I wonder if they even knew that was their mother that was coming to the door, the younger girls, just to get the food. Because the boy was the one they said was opening the door to get the food from the mother. And why are they protecting this mother? Why aren't they showing her? Unless they're afraid that if they show her, somebody's going to unalive her. I don't understand it. Why are they protecting this woman? No, let's see her get arrested. Let's see what she looks like. These kids' toenails were so long they could barely walk. No blankets, soiled clothes. I don't know, guys. Listen, thanks for watching. Hit the like button. Very serious topics. I'll see y'all in the next.
Yes, y'all hit the like button. Oh, and